Hello Libra, Elsie here to do a bonus read for you. Thank you Libra for all the ways that you love on me here on the channel. I do appreciate you. I'm here just to give you a little bit of energy before I start the weeklies. And I just wanted to say thanks for the ways that you loved on me in May. Let's get to it. This bonus read could be for the past, the present, or the future. And let's get some energy on the table. Also, don't forget that there are private readings open. If you look in the pinned comment, you will find a link to Hypsee. If you're interested in a private read of any of this, rings a bell for you. Tell me what's going on for Libra in this bonus read. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and Jupiter signs. We have the Ace of Pentacles. We have the Two of Swords. And we have the Three of Swords. I feel like you're disappointed because you've been waiting on an answer to something that you're not getting. It feels like this answer possibly has to do with a new opportunity. It could be a job, waiting for an employer to call back. It feels like it has to do with the Ace of Pentacles. You know the value of what you're waiting on. It feels as though you haven't gotten the answer. You're trying to feel it out here. You're trying to stay in balance while you're waiting for someone to answer you. But it's quite disappointing. I feel like you're up in your head. Shocker. Not at all really, right? It's not really a shocker. But I feel like Libra, you're all up in your head with the Three and the Two of Swords. You're fighting yourself, I think, and thinking the worst. That's what it feels like. You're thinking the worst might be happening. Maybe they're just never going to call. Maybe they didn't choose me and I don't get the opportunity. Maybe they aren't giving me the raise. Maybe this thing I really wanted to buy, maybe it's a call from the bank and you're waiting on a loan. But it feels like this Two of Swords tells me something is stuck. Also that you're at a crossroads. Like, do I sit around and wait? Do I look for another opportunity? We've got the Two of Cups and we've got the Emperor. And we've got the Knight of Pentacles. Look, it was in the deck the way it was, and then it turned around if you saw it fall on the table. I really believe that things always show up the way they should. So what I do feel is going on here is that I feel like you need to stand your ground, whatever that means to you. The Emperor is standing their ground, pulling in their energy and taking charge of the situation. It feels as though you poured your heart out to someone or you exchanged energy with them, emotional energy. Maybe you feel like you gave them too much energy. It almost feels like maybe a vulnerability hangover. I want to say that if it is a vulnerability hangover, I feel like that might be why the Five Swords are here. It feels like you're really sort of in your head about, why did I say that? What was the look on their face when I said that thing? You're going over whatever the Ace of Pentacles is. It's something that you see the value in, but it's almost like you're blaming yourself for the disappointment, and that must be why things have stopped. Why I haven't heard anything, why they didn't call me back, why the date didn't call me back for a second date. It almost feels like you're blaming yourself for being too closed off or being too much. I'm going to say, it's like Elise Meyer says that if you're too much, man, tell them to go find less. But I think that somebody here, the Emperor is usually the one that's in control, usually the one who is, the one who makes a decision. So it does feel like you're waiting on someone else to make a decision. Now, if it has to do with money or a job or something like that, it's out of your hands. It isn't anything that you can make a decision about. If it is about love, because we do have the Two of Cups here, and for some of you, it could be platonic things I'm talking about. But for some of you, there could be a romantic thing that we're talking about. That you see the value in coming together with somebody, that you feel like you're on the same emotional wavelength. But I feel like there's a block. And I think the block is your decision-making process, if this is a romantic thing. It feels like there is a block in a decision-making process. For some of you, it could be someone else who is the Emperor, who holds the purse strings and is making a decision about you, about your future, or about the opportunity that's showing up. But if this is romantic for you, it does feel like you're sort of, I think that you're worried that you're going to get your heart broken, or that you're going to be disappointed in some way because someone isn't going to choose you, whether this is about money, platonic relationships, or romantic. Either way, all of this is stuck. It feels stuck because when the Knight of Pentacles is in the reverse, the Knight of Pentacles is off the horse, sitting on the ground, checking over checking over all the details, right? Being really hard on themselves. This is Virgo energy, and Virgo is really hard on themselves. And so I feel like you might be being really hard on yourself because it feels like you're at a crossroads. It's like it's out of your hands. You've already said your piece. You're waiting for someone else to make a decision, get back to you. And there really isn't anything that you can do at this time. Tell me about the Two of Swords, please. This is the crossroads. This is the place where we're stuck. We've got the Ten of Swords. We've got the Two of Pentacles. And we've got the Five of Pentacles in the reverse. I think you're wondering, does this person really understand how painful it is for me to wait for them to reconnect to me or to make a decision to reconnect to me? The Five of Pentacles is here in the reverse, which is reconnection. I think you're waiting on reconnection. You're waiting for someone to get back to you on something. The Two of Pentacles tells me that you're doing your best to stay in balance while you're at this point of crossroads. Now, you do have the option to take, some of you, if this is a friendship, relationship, family thing, you do have the option of taking hold of the situation by yourself. I mean, even if it's something to do with the bank or something to do with an opportunity, you could always do a follow-up call. Do you know what I mean? You always could do a follow-up call, and that might be taking back your power in the situation instead of waiting here, trying to stay in balance, trying to stay in your meditative energy. It feels like somebody here is trying to stay in balance, hoping someone isn't going to betray their trust, hoping someone isn't going to hurt them. It seems really painful to wait. You're in this place where you're waiting for someone to get back to you, and I think it's painful. Tell me about the Three of Swords. We've got the Six of Pentacles. We've got the Nine of Swords. Right. Well, that just fell out. And so did this. All right, we'll take them both because I don't like to put away the blessings, right? So we've got the Three of Swords. And the Three of Swords is lending energy to the Six of Pentacles, the Nine of Swords, the Tower, and the Hierophant. I feel as though somebody here is like, I'm sure they're not going to get back to me. I'm sure they don't want to talk to me again. I'm sure I'm just waiting on a letter that says, thank you for your application. But I feel like this keeps you up at night. It feels like this is it's constantly going around in your mind. The Nine of Swords is here to tell me that you're worried that everything is about to implode. So you're trying to hold your ground, be stable and sturdy. You're trying to stand on business. It feels like your brave face is the Hierophant energy. I feel like you are a person who is I'm going to say that you are a person who makes your own rules, who travels your own path. I feel like you are somebody who's going to be solid and sturdy no matter what, but it doesn't, no matter whether you're the Hierophant or not, it doesn't really make you impervious to the Three of Swords, to the heartbreak or the disappointment. It feels like you are waiting for someone to make conversation or get back to you because the Six of Pentacles is here. This person might be someone who I feel that you are a friend with. Maybe you're friendly with them, and it feels like this is a really balanced friendship based on what is waiting on the wall here. Three of Pentacles, Two of Pentacles. But it feels like the Five of Pentacles is involved, which is here. I think that you're waiting for someone to return your call or tell you what's going on. I feel like it keeps you up at night. I think you worry about it a lot. It might be the only thing on your mind. You're like, I'm sure that things are going to implode. So I feel like this is you bracing for impact. Trying to get your stability, trying to stand on business, trying to be solid, focus on yourself. It feels like somebody here is bracing for impact here. Tell me about the Ace of Pentacles. What is this Ace of Pentacles, please? We've got the Sun. Ooh, this is something you really want. Yeah. It's become very clear to you that this is a great opportunity that's about to you know how when you start a fire, if you start a fire in the field, how it could just, right? It feels like that. It feels like this opportunity is one that will grow really quickly. It's something that you want really bad. We've got the Five of Swords, but again, we've got the Five of Swords, right? Where did I say? 3 and 2 is 5, and then the Five of Swords shows up. Again, Five of Swords energy, which is maybe we have too many fundamental differences. Maybe this person is not interested in me. It feels like you're thinking all the worst case scenarios, we've got the Temperance card. So something is coming in the moment of alchemy. It feels like, nothing can ever show up until it's ready to do so. And really, Temperance is trying to calm you, giving you, I feel like it's, you know what it is? It feels like you're just in this hanging space. You're in stasis. You don't have a yes or a no. And I think that's why your mind is running wild with the five of swords. But I feel like some clarity is coming. You will get a yes or no answer. And either way, whether it's a yes or whether it's a no, I feel like finally you'll get your peace because you know the answer. Tell me what the Two of Cups is, please. We've got the Eight of Swords. We've got the Devil energy, and we have the Empress. So I do feel that you are already stuck in your head. It feels like somebody's already spending the money. If this is something that you're waiting on for a job, or you're waiting for a raise, or you're waiting for the bank to say yes or no to a loan, it feels like in your head you're already spending the money or have already spent the money. But it feels like the Empress is a representation of abundance here with the Devil, and that's the loop, right? It's the loop. I'm thinking about it over and over and over again. If this is a loan, and if you are the Empress, and listen, just because you're a Libra doesn't mean you're the Empress, but if you are somebody who qualifies as the Empress, which means you've got the wisdom of all four queens, including your financial condition, right? Because the Queen of Pentacles is the one who is stable and sturdy and taking care of money and health and very organized in their life with things in the 3D. I feel like you are probably in the best position to get a yes, I would say. I also feel that if you are the Empress, it feels like you've really connected with someone, but you understand your worth. Look, you're not going to go off chasing people who aren't going to call you back. You're not going to go out, run off and try and get the attention of somebody who's not reconnecting to you. I feel like it is going to be disappointing. It is going to be hurtful. It's going to be the end of the cycle. And I feel like you're just waiting to get a yes or a no so you can let it go. That's what it feels like. You want to be detached from the Devil. Because with the Eight of Swords and the Devil, it feels like somebody can't stop thinking the worst over and over and over again. Tell me about the Emperor, please. We've got the Knight of Swords, we've got the Nine of Cups, and we've got the Six of Wands. So I feel like if you were the person to make a decision about this, if it were put back to you and said, if you did get the call and they said, do you want to come out again? Or if you did get the call and the bank wanted to give you the money, even though it's going to be a 40-year mortgage, it feels like this information is going to be coming at you soon. And I feel like you are in this dreamy sort of energy of, you know what, I'm just going to remain stable, remain happy. It feels like for some of you, the decision process is not going to make or break you. You won't feel like less than. Do you know what I mean? We have the Emperor and the Empress both here. It does feel like with the Nine of Cups that somebody here with the Six of Wands, that is victory. I will still have victory in the Eight of Cups, even if the decision is not made in my favor. I'm going to say that if this is about romance, we're going to go back there for a second for those of you who are looking at this as a romantic connection, and just notice that we do have the Emperor and the Empress here. We do have two people here who are quite independent of one another, and that might be why the Emperor hasn't called you yet, because the Emperor knows that you are the Empress and you also have a life and maybe a business or a job, or you've always got things going on. I feel like this person does have feelings, but it does feel like things have come to a halt until the Emperor makes a decision. And that's the truth about the Emperor. The Emperor is not just going to give their empire, access to their empire, over to anybody. They need to make sure that they are on the same vibration as them. So this person might be observing you from a distance and wondering, should I make the decision? Should I make the call? I think you're going to get an answer soon, whether this is romantic or not. It feels like you're going to get an answer soon. And I will tell you, you did make quite an impression on the Emperor. Back and forth. Emperor, you made quite an impression on the Empress. So I feel like, I always say in my readings, if you've not been here before, I'll tell you that what I do say is the Emperor is not the one you're going to meet on the apps. And the Emperor is not there swiping left and right. They just can't put their empire at risk. This is something they've built for a lifetime. This person's not looking at someone who isn't in their caliber, right, to get together with. And so this person doesn't wobble. They don't date. They're not somebody who's like here, there, and everywhere. They're a person who observes. They observe from all angles, and when they're ready to make a decision, they decide. So I feel like right now you're waiting for the Emperor, some of you, to make a decision about whether they're going to reconnect, come forward, and give you more of this emotional energy. But I want to say, Libra, because you are Libra, wherever it comes up, you are the overthinker, and you are automatically thinking the worst. You're already preparing, like if they say no, I'm still going to be happy, right? I'm going to be happy. And I think that you will, but I think that you're going to get an answer, whether it's a yes or a no. Let's talk about the Knight of Pentacles and why everything has stalled here. We've got the Ace of Cups, we've got the Seven of Cups, and we've got the Fool. So I think that the Emperor is standing on the edge of the cliff, or sitting on the edge of the cliff, wondering if they should take a leap. It does feel like somebody here is looking at this very emotionless, because we do have, although we have the Ace of Cups here, we do have the 7, and together they are 8. It feels to me like somebody here is trying to really make a decision about what I should do. Which cup should I pick? This person doesn't want to be walking into an illusion. They're a person who goes over details. This is somebody who's going to take their time. And for anybody who's really in a hurry, the Emperor is not for you anyway. I feel like the 7 of Cups and the Ace here tells me that this is on the mind of the Emperor. Do I take a leap? Do I not? But the 8 of Pentacles, or the 8 of Cups, tells me I do have to do it in a very emotionless way, in a very detached way. I need to really look at this not only from a romantic point of view, because I think you're romantically compatible, not only from a romantic point of view, but I've also got to look at this as a logical point of view. And so I feel like the Emperor right now is detached from their feelings so they can make a logical decision. Got the 2 of Swords here. What is the final decision? Whether this is the job, the call back from the bank, or the romantic thing, what's the final decision? The call is coming in. There is clarity. There's a realization and an epiphany. Somebody is going to make their decision, and they are going to make the call. You will hear from them. We've got the Justice. It feels like you will get justice in whatever it is that you want. And then we have the opportunity. Look, I feel like no matter what lens you've got today, you win. That's what it feels like. Something here is about to get very... I'm going to say is going to be very stable. We have the 2 swords at the bottom here, and then we have one here, and we have one with Justice as well. There's 4 swords here, and it tells me that this is a very healed person you're dealing with. This is a very healed opportunity, but I'm telling you, this is not coming all at once. This is going to be so painfully slow, you're going to wonder whether you want to hang around for it or not. But, you know, you might, being either the Emperor or the Empress, Libra, I feel like some of you could be the Empress that you're watching. You're like, it's okay. It's fine. I got a full life and I got things to do. I'm holding down a business. I'm feeding the kids. It feels like somebody here's got a really busy life. So I feel like the opportunity is coming. I feel like you will get it. I think it starts off really, really small. And I feel like you are going to get your justice. You are going to get the conversation. And then we have the Queen of Wands, because somebody here is very attracted here. Somebody's about to make a big, bold move. And they don't care if you say no. They don't care if you say no. The Emperor is going to make a decision, and they don't care if you say no. This is a person who isn't worried about being hurt, because they bounce back super easy. They'll be like, okay, I'm on my way. We have the Knight of Wands. We have the 4 of Swords. There it is. I called it out here. And then we have the Judgment card in the reverse. I feel like somebody here feels judged or misjudged. I'm going to say that you're probably leaping to a conclusion that hasn't happened yet. That's what it feels like. This person is not judging me right. I didn't get a chance to say what I wanted to say. I you know what I mean? I'm going to say, regardless of whether you feel misjudged or not, something is going to show up or move forward here. And I feel like you will become stable. You're going to get a stable answer. Somebody here is going to become vulnerable. They're going to be vulnerable, and you will hear from them. I think you're feeling misjudged because I think your brain has got you on overdrive, Libra. But I'm not telling you that it's going to happen yes or it's going to happen no, but I feel like you're going to be okay no matter what, because you've decided, look, I'm going to be happy regardless, because the 9 of Cups is something you build yourself. You don't need external validation. The Emperor and the Empress never need external validation. They know who they are. And I feel like you are going to get an answer from the Emperor soon. The Emperor does make a decision quite quickly, it seems like here. But it does feel like you will get a call, whether the answer is yes or no. I feel like somebody is going to send you a message, reach out, or something. And it feels like this feels like a breakthrough. Like the Queen of Wands is like, there we go. Now I can make my big, bold move. But yeah, I feel like you're waiting, but I feel like you won't be waiting much longer. I'm going to leave this right here, Libra. Thank you so much for being here and watching. I do appreciate you. I'm going to go for now, but I'll be back, friends, because I'm always back. Be back with the weeklies. You guys take care. Bye-bye.